Hello everyone, my name is Salim and welcome to the Markets Breakdown and Analysis for Friday, the 1st of December 2023. We'll be breaking down chart and show the exact zones where price will close for potential buys or close below for potential sells as well. So looking at the daily candle for Thursday. Now the daily has been bearish at one point, breaking below the Wednesday daily low, retraced, flipped bullish, broke slightly above the Wednesday daily high as well. But now clearly we can see the daily candle is retracing, meaning price going back into the range where the 4-hour candle's been consolidating. And we can clearly see candles printing side by side as well. So now a quick recap on the high time frame. So since the monthly candle for November is coming to a close in a few hours, we can clearly see, and more likely, the monthly candle will be closing strong bullish above the monthly rejection formed in August 2023. Now the big question is, since this monthly candle is closing bullish, out of this monthly range, are we going to see a continuation to the upside as early as December 2023? Or are we going to see some sort of a pullback and then see a potential continuation to the upside in 2024, meaning January, February leading next year? So in my opinion, it's all down to how the weekly candle will close. And we've already anticipated to see a weekly resistance earlier in the week, and we've explained why we did anticipate to see weekly resistance. And it looks like the idea so far is still playing out. And I mean, we only have one more daily candle to close, which is the Friday. So it'll be interesting to see whether we're going to see a strong weekly resistance closing, forming a resistance around 188.260. Because here's the thing, so since the monthly is closing, maybe for this weekly candle to close bearish, the anticipation we could have here is to see a retest of a certain zone. Based on high time frame, the zone I would like to see price to retest, which that will allow the December monthly candle to form a bottom wick, is this monthly resistance around 184.340. Now when it dropped down to the weekly time frame, what is this? This is a weekly range and a weekly consolidation zone formed recently. So now looking at the daily candle for Thursday more likely will be closing weak bullish, forming week's daily support around 186.660. And now to break down the chart and drop it down to the 4-hour time frame, and clearly we can see price range in here. So we have the most recent 4-hour support formed around 186.680, the most recent 4-hour resistance formed around 187.170. Now you can clearly see this is a very messy range on the 4-hour time frame. So what we're going to do here, let's have a look on the hourly first and then we can decide. So the first thing we can see here is we have an hourly support around 186.630. We have an hourly resistance above this level around 187.330. Looking at the 30-minute time frame, we can adjust the level of support again to 186.570. A level of resistance to be adjusted based on this previous 1-hour resistance, 30-minute resistance around 187.430. And yes, the same level of support and resistance on the 50-minute time frame. So now to identify the no trade zone, I would say personally, ideally is to wait for price for potential buys, is to wait for price to break and close above this 4-hour resistance above 187.540. And I know this is going to be a big no trade zone, but this is extremely messy on the low time frame and the high time frame as well. So potential buys above, let's say, based on the 4-hour time frame, above 187.540. Potential sells, what we could do here is we could look for sells as price break and close below this 4-hour support, even adjusted to 186.480 below this previous 4-hour support. And this is going to be the no trade zone. And now to look for potential buys and going back to the daily. So the first thing we can see here is we have the daily resistance formed around 188.490, dropping down to the 4-hour time frame. We have a 4-hour resistance around 188.310. Dropping down to the hourly time frame, we can clearly see the resistance lines up with the hourly. And we've spoken recently and we've explained, if price break and close above this 4-hour resistance, ideally is to pay attention to how price reacts once it taps to this hourly range within, let's say, 187.780. So looking at the 5-minute time frame, more likely we have the same level of resistance. Clearly we can see low volume within this level. So I would say the first target for buys could potentially be, let's have a look on the daily. So the first target for buys could potentially be 188.310, targeting this 4-hour resistance. The second target for buys. Now, the anticipation here is to see the... Let's have a look again. So, we have this hourly resistance around 188,520. Drop it down to, that's a daily resistance, drop it down to the 4-hour time frame. We have a 4-hour resistance around 188,560. Drop it down to the hourly time frame, and looking on the left, what do we see? We have an hourly range again around 188,590. So let's say 188,600. I would say the second target for buys could potentially be 188,620, targeting this hourly resistance. And now to look for potential sells, and going back to the daily. So the first thing we can identify here is we have a daily support formed around 185,590. Drop it down to the 4-hour time frame. We have a 4-hour recent support around 185,810. Drop it down to the hourly time frame, and let's have a look on the left again. Do we see this is an hourly range? So I would say the first target for sells could potentially be 185,820, targeting this 4-hour support. The second target for sells. Now here's the thing, so we have a daily support, and then we can clearly see these two daily candles rejected the downside. Now when you look on the left, what do we see? We see this daily range on the left where candles have been printing side by side, and this was a very bad range on a daily time frame, and that's actually where we've had this weekly candle formed. Now I would say personally the second target for sells, we could have this previous daily resistance around 185,320. Looking at the because that's a clean traffic on the 4-hour, and let's have a look how it looks on the hourly. Yeah, I'd stick to the high time frame at this for this second target for sales. I'd say the second target for sales could potentially be 185,320, targeting this previous daily resistance.
Dominion Markets, your trading sanctuary.